Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. This is your forecast for the new moon in Scorpio, happening on October 27th, 2019 at 11:37 p.m. Eastern Time or 8:37 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, what this new moon in Scorpio, in my opinion, is really all about is about new beginnings, major new beginnings, creating a new life that we want to set us up for the next 35 years of our life in very, very positive ways. I think what can happen at this new moon in Scorpio is that we could have unexpected events happen to us, we could do things unexpectedly, or we can get some unexpected insights here, propelling us forward to finally overcome the past and enlighten us and liberate us from the past and enlighten us to what it is that we want to do next. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. If you're interested, please stay tuned. Also, if you want to get more insight from me other than what I say for the new moon and the full moon videos that I put out every month on YouTube, feel free to check me out on my website. I do a bunch of other videos as well. I do horoscopes every single day, every single week, and every single month, so you can get those as well. You can get those on my website, www.wondergirlastrology.com. You can either purchase those separately or you can sign up for my membership to get them to you regularly. Also, if some of you are interested in talking to me about your chart, about your life, about what's going on, I also do have 30-minute and 1-hour options available as well on my website, so that you can talk to me about all things astrology and about what's going on in your life and get my perspective and my opinion. All right, so you can check all those things out online. Now, for what's going on today, what we've got going on is going to be the new moon in Scorpio happening right here. How do I know it's a new moon? Because we've got the sun and the moon conjunct at the same degree in the same sign. What are new moons all about? New moons are about new beginnings, starting things, fresh energy. What are we beginning? Well, we've got the new moon in Scorpio. What is Scorpio all about? Scorpio is interesting because it's a lot about endings and beginnings. It's a lot about change. So what's going on here? I will say this, maybe normally I would interpret Scorpio as having a lot to do with endings, but I'm going to interpret this new moon as like a beginning of beginnings that's starting to come into focus, especially because we've had the ruler of this new moon, Pluto, because Scorpio and Pluto are correlated, in a major alignment for most of this year, okay? Pluto has been coming into a conjunction with Saturn for most of this year. Now, it hasn't come into a conjunction with Saturn exactly yet, but it has gotten awfully close, and it did in April of 2019. In April of 2019, Saturn and Pluto came really close, then they both, about a degree apart, went retrograde and both went backwards. And what I think was going on between April of 2019 and this new moon, October 27th of 2019, because of that alignment, has been endings. We have been ending things. What have we been ending? Well, with Saturn and Pluto involved, long-standing cycles in our life that were either hard for us or that we no longer want, because Saturn and Pluto come conjunct every 35 years. So we've been ending 35-year cycles in between April of 2019 and October, although possibly even longer, so that we can break free from those and move forward. Pluto also does have a lot to do with karma as well, so it's not just necessarily breaking 35-year cycles, realizing we don't want what we've experienced the past 35 years, and that we have grown and want new or different things, but it could also be about ending karmic stuff, and stuff we didn't really care for the past 35 years either. And as to where, again, in between April of 2019 and October of 2019, we were ending the old cycles, breaking the karma. To me, this new moon in Scorpio, again, Scorpio, the sign about endings and beginnings, is not so much about ending, because we've been doing that. Do you see how we've been ending things for months? So to me, this new moon in Scorpio is about saying, you know what? It's about the beginnings. I've been ending things for so long. It's time for me to step into a major beginning and to reorient my life and my perspective away from the endings and away from the old and more towards the new and more towards the future. And I think that's what this new moon in Scorpio is all about. Time to focus on what's next. Time to focus on what I do want in my life, what I do want to create, what I do want to begin, what I do want to happen. All right. And this isn't just creating new things. Like maybe I should say again, this isn't just like a new a little new beginning or any old new beginning, because this new beginning comes in the midst of a Saturn-Pluto South Node thing, which is a major alignment that is very rare, which doesn't happen all the time, which doesn't happen every year. So this isn't just like any old new moon, new beginning. This is a major new beginning where we're not just breaking 35-year cycles, but we're setting ourselves up for the next 35-year cycle. Now, we aren't quite finished creating the new beginning quite yet, because the Saturn-Pluto conjunction won't come complete until January of 2020. So it's not like this is a one and done thing. It's not like, okay, great, past karma, 35 years, I'm done with you. I'm not focusing on you. New life, new 35 years, hit the ground running, created, finished, complete. It's not like that, okay? Because Saturn and Pluto haven't come conjunct yet. It won't be conjunct until January 2020. We have plenty of room and plenty of time and plenty of space, if you consider 3 months, plenty of time, to create and formulate what we want next. So even though New Moon in Scorpio is a major new beginning to set us up for the next 35 years, that new beginning that we're creating, we're not entirely clear on yet, and we're not entirely finished with. The new beginning that we're creating now is going to start to gel and become more complete in January 2020. And I think it's actually going to take a little bit longer than that, until July of 2020 at the next and last solar, not the next, but at the last solar eclipse in Cancer, in order for it to happen. And now is that time at this new moon in Scorpio that we're saying no more old stuff. Maybe there's still some old stuff hanging around still, but we're saying, you know what, I've done everything that I could to tie up the old stuff from the past 35 years to get rid of the old karma. I can't focus on that. And I'm going to focus on the new and on the beginning. I haven't fully created the new beginning yet. I don't fully know what the new beginning is yet, but I want to figure it out. And I'm curious about it. And that's where I need to put my focus and my attention to work things out over the course of the next few months to get there. All right. So that's what's going on. Other alignments that are happening. Oh, before I talk about other alignments, I also need to stress the relationship importance as well of this new moon in Scorpio, because I don't think I did that quite enough in my last video, and the new moon in Libra, which is also a highly relationship sign. Like Libra and Scorpio are the two extremely relationship oriented signs in the zodiac. So this isn't just this new moon in Scorpio about us starting major new beginnings all across the board in our lives, which I do think is something that's happening. We're starting to formulate the new beginning for the new life, the beginning of the beginning. This also has to do with relationships. We're also starting to work with relationships differently, either work with new people or work with old people in new and different ways that we like better, that are going to be good for us. Okay, because we're overcoming karma, we're overcoming hardship. This is not about getting stuck in hard times. This is about moving forward into better times. So I think there's also a big part of us too that is overcoming a lot of karma and a lot of hard stuff in relationships, a lot of imbalances of power with relationships, a lot of relationships with people we didn't really, that aren't really for us, so that we can also move forward. That's super important too, because this last Saturn-Pluto conjunction that happened 35 years ago happened at the last degrees of Libra, a sign of relationships, about 7 degrees away from this new moon in Scorpio. So I want you to know as well that it's not just about us beginning major new things in our life that we like better and figuring out what that is. It's also about us beginning major new cycles with relationships that are more equitable, more fair, more balanced, more just, that really resonate with us, that really touch our souls, that will also help us to move forward. And it's about us figuring out what the new relationship template is so that we can connect with people better and more deeply. Super important. Okay. So that's what's going on there. Now to talk about the aspects. We do have this new moon in Scorpio making an opposition to Uranus and Taurus, which is exact. So the more exact an alignment is, to me, the more influence that it holds, and the more that we'll feel it. So what does this bring? The new moon opposite Uranus and Taurus. Well, we talked about the new moon in Scorpio bringing major new beginnings all across the board in your life, and especially with relationships, to create better situations, finally, as a result of a lot of things that we've been doing in between April and October. So this isn't something that happened overnight. It's not like all of a sudden we get to the new moon in Scorpio and like our lives are better for no reason. Our lives are better at the new moon in Scorpio because of all the hard work we've been doing for the past few months to get here. Okay. So it's not just about new beginnings, chapters, creating the new relationships. This Uranus and Taurus, to me, is also about creating new beginnings that you really want, that are really good for you, that get your value systems, that can give you more stability and more security. This opposition to Uranus and Taurus here can also bring, again, I said this in my introduction, the unexpected insights, the unexpected events, and the unexpected revelations to help us move on. I think what's been going on is that we're so tired at this new moon. Like, we're so tired because sometimes Uranus brings the restlessness. We're so tired of the past 35 years. We're so tired of the karmic cycles. Not only are we tired of the karmic cycles themselves, but we're so tired of the transition out of the karmic cycles. Like, how long is it going to take to get out of karma? You know what I mean? So I think there's a part of us, this new moon Scorpio, that's like, I'm done. I'm just done. I can't handle it. I can't handle the past. I've been trying to break karmic cycles. I'm done. And we may do something suddenly or unexpectedly. Something may happen to us suddenly and unexpectedly, or we may get a sudden or unexpected insight helping to jolt us out of hard times that kept us stuck and into new times. You know, Uranus has a lot to do with lightning and with electricity. So this is like a lightning bolt coming here to wake us up out of things that have been hard and propel us into new and better things. Uranus also, to me, is a very forward-thinking, future-thinking sign. It has a lot to do with our goals, our dreams, our ambitions. So to me, this is another indicator that this new moon in Scorpio is not about staying stuck in a rut, staying stuck in old habits, staying stuck in the transition, staying stuck in old times. This new moon in opposite Uranus is about the future. The future. Focus on the future. Create the future. What do you want that to be? Uranus also has a strike of lightning to help you get that and to do it. Uranus, to me, also has a lot to do with, oh man, I just lost it. Oh, rebellion and revolution. So it's about totally revolutionizing our life, who we are as we know it or as we used to know it, to create different things. So I think that this opposition to Uranus, especially because the moon and Uranus are making a little bit of a mutual reception, I like to see this as a very good thing, propelling us forward towards our future, towards our destiny, on a different path, to even let go of some of the emotions, because Uranus is not a very emotional planet, to even let go of some of the emotions that bound us to karmic cycles. It's helping us to also break the emotional ties to old things so that we can move on doing what we need, creating the new, being enlightened to the new, and getting on board with that. Uranus also, to me, has a lot to do with friends as well. So it could be a good time to seek the support of friends or groups of other people who can help you move on as well. So to me, this is a good thing all around. Another reason why I really like this alignment, and I actually really like this new moon for being like the beginning, the harbinger of positive times ahead finally, is because this new moon is also in a trine here to the North Node in Cancer. What is the North Node about? Our destiny, our future. In my opinion, wherever the North Node is, positive things follow. So this major new beginning, or for this major, by us focusing on creating the future and on beginning a new life to break free from all the old stuff that has bound us and create a new life that we feel more comfortable and more confident in, is helping us finally honor our spirit, finally honor our soul, move forward, progress, doing the things that we know that we need, and build our life on a better foundation. So to me, lots and lots and lots of forward momentum here at this new moon. Okay, now even though I like a lot of those things at this new moon, helping to propel us forward into the future, to create the future, to let go of the past for the time being, and welcome better times. Even though to me that's a good thing, there are some other alignments that I don't care for, but the new moon itself I really like. It's just some of the other alignments going on in the background that are a little challenging. Excuse me, I'm a tad bit sick. The alignments that are a little bit more challenging to me, maybe I'll start with Mercury first. It's Mercury here at the last degrees of Scorpio, about to go retrograde. So right at the same time, we get this like huge lightning strike in order to break free from the old stuff and to move forward, or to do this, to flush the past down the toilet. You know, Scorpio, the new moon is Scorpio. Scorpio has a lot to do with, and especially because we had the new moon in Libra the past few months, Libra and Scorpio have a lot to do with our liver and the parts of our body where we excrete waste. So I think a lot of this new moon in Scorpio is finally about like flushing a lot of the old stuff from the past down the toilet. So not only are we receiving a major boost of this new moon in Scorpio, flush the past down the toilet, to focus now on the future, to cleanse our lives of things we didn't like so that we can focus on the future, even though that's a positive thing. And we can be excited. You know, Uranus to me, because it has a lot to do with electricity, can bring like the excitement, the restlessness, the wanting to do things, all of that. Even though we've got this major excitement, this Mercury retrograde is it's not retrograde yet. It's going to go retrograde in Halloween. But this Mercury retrograde is a bit challenging because even though we're excited about the new life that we're now beginning, that will set us up for the next 25 years, we don't quite know what that new beginning is. We're getting lightning bolt insights, but we're still not sure. Mercury about to go retrograde to me could create two scenarios. It could create confusion about what's next in your life, or it could create a feeling of not being complete. Sure, I'm going to focus on what's next for me in my life, and I'm excited about that, but what exactly is next? I'm getting lightning bolts of insight about what's next for me, but I don't know, now I'm confused because I've never been this person before. So is this a joke? Is this fake? Can I really be this? You know, there could be a lot of this confusion going on. Sure, new life, but what is the new life? And what do I really want? That could be hard. And even if we are getting good insights about our new life and what we want, especially with Mercury conjunct Venus, that's typically an alignment that I like. Even if we are getting good insights about what our values are, what we want, there's another part of this too that still feels like, even though we've got some of the story, we don't have the whole part of the story. I know a little bit about what's next for me, but I don't know everything that's next. And that's the hard thing. I'm so excited about what's coming. I'm so excited about creating the new life, but I'm confused about the new and I don't have the whole story about the new that now I need to rework over the course of the next month while Mercury is retrograde in order to get it right. On top of that alignment, we also do have Mars. This is a bit more challenging, the most challenging alignment I would say going on right now, in a square with Saturn and also in a square with Pluto. And Mars doesn't really like to be in Libra to begin with. So this to me is major excitement for the future, coupled with indecision a bit, coupled with confusion perhaps, coupled with a feeling of being incomplete, and coupled with Mars square Saturn delays, or do I want to say roadblocks, or a feeling of heaviness. Okay, Mars has a lot to do with how we do things and how we act. And when Mars squares Saturn, it slows that down. Mars square Saturn to me, excuse me, again, Mars square Saturn to me is like driving with the brakes on. And so we want to create a new life, but we're realizing that we don't know what the new life is yet. And that we have to be a little bit more slow and a little bit more deliberate and a little bit more thoughtful about what it is that we want next. Why? With Saturn and Pluto? So that we don't repeat old habits and we don't repeat old patterns. And so that we can break those and finally move forward. Because the last thing we want is to have a new life in which old things creep in. Especially when we aren't quite sure of what it is, the new thing that we want. So there's this hard thing going on, especially because Mars is tailing all the planets now. Mars is the last one to come through all these spots. There's a part of us that's like, I know I want something new and different. I'm not sure what the new is. And because I'm not sure what the new is, now I'm frustrated because I want to move and I can't, and I have to be slow and I have to think more long term and I have to be a little bit more deliberate. And there's that frustration, but the slowness is to make sure we don't repeat the same habits and patterns. Okay. And that can be hard. And we're having to think a little bit more long term, the best that we can, even though we don't know what the future is. So it's like one of those things. It's like, I got to think about the future, even though I don't know what the future is. We got to get like our spidey senses, our sixth sense on to feel our way through things in order to make some of that work. Okay. Another thing I should say about this alignment too. Sure. Mars and Libra, square Saturn and Pluto, I have been saying is about us needing to be deliberate so that we don't repeat old habits and patterns, but it's not just about how we do things ourselves to get what we want. Mars and Libra also has a lot to do with relationships. So it's not just about I need to make sure that I do the right things to get me on this new journey, even though I don't quite know what I'm creating and I'm having to be slower about it. It's also about relationships. We have to now figure out how to bring the people that either we have decided we do or don't want on board with us in this next chapter and in this next journey that we're still figuring out, that we could still be a little bit frustrated about. So Mars square Saturn and Pluto can bring arguments with relationships, disagreements with other people. Again, this is Mars in Libra, so to me these aren't so much all-out fights, these are more so passive aggression, but passive aggression can really inflame a lot of things. And we're having to be careful not only about how we move forward, but about how we work with the people in our lives, because we need to make sure that people in our lives do not treat us an old way that we don't like. We need to make sure that those people come with us and that we have the conversations that we need with them to make sure they change or are different as we move on. And that also could be creating the slowdown. Not only are we not sure about what's next and want to make sure that we don't repeat stuff, but also relationships are slowing us down, and we need to make sure that they know what is and is not acceptable on this next part of the journey. Could be frustrating to have to communicate with people. I will not accept this, I will not tolerate it, but can be a very good thing if you're not afraid to do that, to help break old cycles and set you up for what's next, okay? So that's a lot of what's going on there too. And I think, that's the other thing. Mars, in addition to making the square with Saturn and Pluto, is also making a quincunx here to Neptune and Pisces. So this to me is a very emotional alignment. It's not that, maybe that's a clarification that I should make. It's not that the past is totally done. It's not like at this new moon in Scorpio, the past no longer is there, the past no longer weighs on us. I think it is still there. I think it will be for a while. At least until the nodes square Neptune, which I think is going to take another year or so to do, and until Neptune leaves Pisces. So the past is still hanging around. And I think we're going to feel that, especially with relationships. I got a new beginning to create whatever it is that I want, to set myself up for the next 35 years. I got to be slow so I don't repeat old things. I got to bring people along with me and have the conversations that I need, but there's also still a past hanging around. The thing about this new moon is not that the past all of a sudden disappears or fixes itself. The thing about this new moon is that we realize that we've done everything that we could at this point in time, that focusing on the past would be detrimental to our success. And so we don't let go of the past, or don't want to say, maybe let go is not the word. It's not that the past gets better, it's that we put the past on a shelf and we say, I'm not going to focus on you. Past still maybe has questions, past still maybe has things I need to work out. I'm going to put you on a shelf. I'm not going to focus on you. And I'm going to focus now on how I can create the new and better. And I think that's what comes in, is there's this tension between past is better than it's ever been. I've resolved the past more than I've ever resolved it, but it's still here, but I'm excited about the future. And I think part of me now wants to say, shelve the past, focus on creating the new and formulating that and getting a new way of doing things and working with people differently in order to move forward. And you'll circle back around to the past at a later time once the new has been more fully formed in order to resolve that and bring it more with you. Okay. Which may, to be honest, may not actually be till the very end of next year, next October of 2020, that starts to more further break and shake loose in the ways that we need. All right, so that's going on there. Is there anything else that I want to say? Maybe I'll read some of the Sabian symbols in the inside degrees. And I have one other thing I could draw on the chart as well. That would be kind of interesting to talk about. The Sabian symbols and the inside degrees. There was only one that I really liked the most. So I'm going to read that one first. And it was for 3 degrees Scorpio. The new moon here is at 4 degrees Scorpio, but I liked 3 degrees the best. And I kind of read a bunch of the degrees around the new and full moons, and I figure out the one that resonates the most with me intuitively, and I like this one. 3 degrees Scorpio, inside degrees. It says generating a world with an on and off switch. And so I feel like that's a lot of what's going on at this new moon in Scorpio, is on and off. Past, off, future, on. That's all it is. Not that the past goes away, it's just you turn the lights off on it. I'm not going to deal with that. On the future. Okay. It says that the off switch blocks our needs from being met. So the more that we focus on the things that we need to turn off, the past, we're not going to be able to grow. That inside degree says the on switch brings a full response to what you crave. So the more that we focus on the new, on what we want to create, on what we want to build, we get more of our needs and our desires and our cravings met. It says, suddenly everything fills up with goodies. So for those of you who've been feeling like life has been hard for a really hard time and don't know when it's going to get better, to me, this new moon in Scorpio is bringing the goodies, the treats. It's the beginning of the beginning. The real beginning in our life to set us up for a new 35-year journey isn't really going to occur until next January of 2020 to July of 2020, but now we are beginning that beginning. We're laying the groundwork for it to come. Okay. This inside degrees, 3-degree Scorpio, also talks about the past a bit and what was wrong there. It says, denying yourself everything is a karmic pattern you are hooked on. We are hooked on. Maybe the past 35 years, we've been living like a lack mentality. Things are always going to go wrong. Things are never going to be right. Or maybe our mindset turned that way after some time. And this new moon in Scorpio is saying you have to stop with that mindset of lack. You have to. This also says acquire a taste for the plus state. I love that so much. You have to get your perspective away from lacking things, sacrificing things. Things are going to be bad to I can have what I ask for. Things are abundant. Things are there when I need them. It reminds me of a movie. I think it was a movie, like a Jim Carrey movie, who says yes to everything. We need to learn that not to say no. It's not about saying no, I don't want that. I feel like the past few years of our life are about no, I don't want this. People telling me no. We need to learn now to cultivate yes, to say yes to more things, to let more things that you want back into your life. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily to say yes to everything, because Mercury is about to go retrograde, and Mercury retrograde to me is actually about being more discerning in a lot of ways. So it's not about saying yes to everything, but it's about learning to say yes to more things that'll get us what we need, and to stop saying no, or to stop focusing on the no's that aren't working for us. Okay. Also, another part of this inside degree said this, realizing that if you can release the past, that everyone else is willing. So this is a relationship part, saying if you can make a choice to just not focus on the past, you're going to find that you have more support than it is that you want and need. Okay, especially because Uranus, the new moon opposite Uranus has a lot to do with groups of people, friends. So you could have friends there. Okay, now the challenge is that we do have Mars still in a square to Saturn and Pluto. Okay, so you may have to have the confrontation with relationships. You may feel the frustration and the blockages by relationships, but once you go head into that and release the past, I think you're going to find that people are going to be with you more than you need, especially because Mars is the last planet to move past this hard square to Saturn and Pluto. You're going to find that people are also willing to get on board with what you need to create a new beginning, and that the friends and the support is there to help you move forward. It says, 3-degree Scorpio, all issues are forward moving as soon as you let up stinging yourself for the past. So I cannot stress that too much. Stop with the past. Turn it off, shelve it. The new, focus on that. Focus on new abundance, goodies, treats, getting what you crave and what you desire starting to come into your life. Practice that. If some of you like things to do for the moons, like that's something that I would recommend, to plan intentions, like focus instead on this new moon on like the things you could say yes to that you like. Okay. Other inside degrees I'll just briefly read, although I didn't really like them as much. We had the 4-degree Scorpio, which is the actual degree of the new moon itself. It says, plunged into storms to seek cleansing and release. That's kind of interesting because Uranus and Taurus really reminds me of a lot of storms. Taurus as well has a lot to do with the weather. And for some reason, Uranus to me has a lot to do with like wind being the natural lord of Aquarius, an air sign. So there is a big like storm coming at this new moon, but not an ominous dark storm with all these dark clouds, but like a storm whisking you away to the better. Okay, so I see a lot of that, and especially again with Scorpio having a lot to do with the parts of your body that excrete waste. This is about cleansing yourself of the past, purifying yourself from a lot of these old things so that you can let it go and be taken on the wave of what is to come. Also, that 4-degree Scorpio and the inside degree says wiping out your ordinary consciousness by a big spirit or force. Uranus to me has a lot to do with like God, a higher spirit, a higher force coming to wipe out the old, cleanse, purify you from the old and move on. We also have 5 degrees Scorpio. The inside degrees says bringing together what has been rent asunder. So old things that have been hard starting to be fixed, new things starting to come together. Maybe not quite yet, but just now starting. Bringing together, fusing together polarities, darkness and light, good and bad, masculine and feminine. So a lot of good things going on there. We also have the Sabian symbols too. I don't like those as much, but they were also kind of interesting. So look at a few of those. We had 3 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol is one of cooperation, which is kind of interesting because the inside degrees, one of those was also a lot about relationships working with you. Okay, relationships may not work with you at first. Mars square Saturn, Pluto. But once you have the conversations, release the past, do things differently, everything's going to come together. The 3 degrees Sabian symbol for Scorpio says uses the imagery of building a house. It says building a house is a collective enterprise. The house that we're building, which is kind of interesting about this thing because we have the North Node in Cancer, the sign of the home and family, the sign of the house, which we are building. North Node, our destiny is to build a safe space, a safe haven, a home for ourselves. We're building a house. But it takes a lot of people to build a house. It's your house. You only live in it, you and your family. But you live in a neighborhood, you live in a block. It's in the best interest, not only of you, but of everyone else that lives on your block in order to have a nice house that lives next to theirs, in order to have the new beginning that the next person is starting be successful in work. So we're really trying to create a safe space for ourselves. But I think, especially as we move further and further on throughout the month, more people are going to become more willing to work with you, to cooperate, to create something together that can lift everyone. 4 degrees Scorpio, the Sabian symbol, says the initiation or creation of new values and symbols. With Mercury here going retrograde in a conjunction to Venus, now that we're focusing more on the new instead of the old and letting ourselves finally create a new beginning, even if we don't know what that new beginning is, we're starting to formulate new values for ourselves, new things that are important to us, realize new parts of our soul that we want or feel as well, and awakening to those. And the last Sabian symbol, 5 degrees Scorpio, has a lot to do with bringing more stability. So the more that we can focus on the new, building that, even if we aren't quite sure what the new is, and feeling a little bit stuck or having to go a little bit slow, even though we've got all this excitement, the more that we can try our best to focus on the new in more deliberate ways, I think eventually we're going to bring more stability and more of a foundation back into our life to help us move on. So that's what I want to say there. And perhaps the last, do I want to say? I was like, yeah, maybe that's what I'll leave it with there. How long have we been going on this? Okay. Issues, yeah. So that's what I'll leave you with. And now I'll pull your card. Because to me, this new moon in Scorpio it's about new beginnings, setting us up in big ways for what is to come. We just have to figure out what it is that we want to come, which we don't know yet. And make sure the last few bits of things are coming with us to the new. Yeah. Knowing card. Maybe that's another point I should make too. I didn't really think I hit this as much about the Mercury going retrograde. I talked a lot about saying yes to building new things. So I think there's a big part of me that wants to encourage you all to do lots of new and different things. Even if you thought, like, I never would have done this in a million years. Do it anyways, try it. Don't lock yourself in, because you may have to pare some of these new things back. You may realize some of the new things you try now you don't want, but it's okay. It's okay to try things you don't eventually want. Don't be afraid to take the step to do it, but give yourself room to get out of it, to change it, and to reformulate your identity in the process. Maybe that's part of the frustration. I want to try this new thing for my life, but I don't know if I'm 100% going to like it. Do you have to 100% like something in order to try it? No, you don't. Try it, and then after you've tried it, this new thing that you want to create, then see, do I want to continue doing it? Do I want to do it again? If you don't, stop doing it. If you do, bring more into your life. Now your card for the new moon in Scorpio is the 9. It's the 9 of Wands upright. This to me is a card I think a lot of times of perseverance, of holding your ground, and of course the Wands to me are wands of passion. So my aim is saying you're so close to new, better chapters. I mean, I think that they're really going to begin to take hold in more permanent ways now. Stand your ground. And it's not so much about you having to like fight tooth and nail. I gotta fight to be with this. To me, the Nine of Wands is more like just stand in your power. Maybe that's what I'll say. Stand in your power. Maybe some of us feel like, what power? What power do I have? Or this power that I do have is so new. I don't know what it is. But to me, this card is like, stop worrying. You're in a better spot than you think. You know, this is a 9, it's almost a 10. You're at the top of the pack. Stand in your power. And the more that you stand in who you are, trust yourself, be confident, even if you don't know quite how things are going to work out, the more things are going to start to fall together. The bottom of the deck is the Page of Wands reversed. So this to me also has a lot to do with, I like to think of like learning new things. Again, don't be afraid to experiment and to explore. The Page of Wands, you know, and to have that like childlike wonder and excitement. Which is kind of interesting is that, you know, to me the 9s is about standing your ground and holding your power, but this to me is more of a playful card in a way, you know, so it's just like, be at ease, trust, relax, and have fun. Maybe there's a part of us that's like, I don't want to have fun. Mars square Saturn. I don't want to have fun. I can't have fun. Things have been too hard for too long. I'm scared. This isn't going to work. Okay, try it and see. Relax, have fun. I think that that's going to be the most useful thing you could do right now. And then this next month is to not try to put so much of a hard and fast expectation on things and on your new life, but to have fun in the process, creating what will ultimately take hold, because you have more time. Like if you don't know what you want the next 35 years of your life to be, don't stress out. You're not going to know now anyways. You have more time. You have at least 3 months till January and at least 9 months till next July to figure it out. So enjoy the ride and do what inspires you in order to get you to where you ultimately want to be. So that is your forecast for the new moon in Scorpio. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you later.